Inner Village family. I am Chanel and I'll be your host today. Welcome to Villij Talk. I hope you are doing well. I hope you're enjoying your time in Inner Village. It's been so nice to see everybody's face. If you want to drop in the chat where you're tuning in from, that would be amazing. And again, welcome to Villij Talk. Today we're with Nabat Sherif. She is a fitness coach based in Toronto. She'll tell you a little bit about herself. And I want to let you know a little bit about Villij Talk. So Villij Talk is co-hosted alongside wellness practitioners to talk about basically the exploration that they have had with their own wellness. So I want to go over the house rules. This talk will be about an hour. We use the chat for questions and stuff like that. So feel free to ask questions throughout. We will get to them throughout as well. We will also use a polling system, and we'll have about a 10-minute Q&A portion at the end. So again, welcome Nabat. Thank you so much for being with us. And can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be doing this talk with you guys, but also being part of the Inner Village. It's super exciting. My name is Nabat. I'm a personal trainer and fitness coach living in Toronto. I got into fitness through my own fitness journey. I've struggled with weight for most of my life. So when I say I've been there, so I know what it's like. And, I became a coach because I didn't see enough people who looked like me in the gym. And I know how intimidating it was to get into fitness, having never been active before. And I wish I had someone like me helping me through, the motions of getting into fitness. So I decided to be that person, and I love that decision. I would never look back.
I love to hear that you've been there before. There's so many times that we look at these fitness coaches, or, we log on to Peloton or Nike fitness app, and you're like, okay, girl, you can do this because you've been doing this since you came out of the womb.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's nice to hear that, you've also had, your journey with, being fit and attaining fitness at the end of the day. And it's really refreshing. And I think, I'm sure your clients are really appreciative of it as well.
Yeah, I don't mince words. I know, I always say I've been there, done that, got the t-shirt. I was never active growing up. So I didn't start until I was in my early 20s. So I was late in the game, but best decision.
For sure. So how do you define body positivity?
So body positivity to me is loving your body for what it is and making the most of what you've got. I always tell people, you've only got one body. This is the body that you've been given, and you can either hate it or you can love it and embrace it. And it's very complex when you talk about body positivity. People equate it to health and what does health look like, and positive body image. But overall, body positivity is embracing your body and celebrating it for what it is, because listen, our bodies go through a lot. They go through a whole lot, and this is the only one we've got. So love it and embrace it and celebrate it for what it is. That's what I think body positivity is.
Yes, and it's very interesting to see, throughout your different phases in life, your body changes. Absolutely. My body in my teens is not my body in my 20s, is not my body in my 30s. So I think if we can embrace the ebbs and flows of the changes that we undergo, especially after childbirth, especially, if you've had something that took you out, like a surgery or something like that, we all have to learn how to be kind to one another. So
absolutely.
What are some ways that we can assess our own body image?
So I would always ask yourself a couple of things, how do you feel when you look in the mirror? How do you feel when you put on clothes? What clothes do you gravitate towards? What do you kind of stray away from? How do you talk about your body? how do you talk about your body to yourself, like in your head, and how do you talk about it with, you know, your sisters or your girlfriends or your family or whoever it might be? So thinking about how you talk about your body or how you perceive it will be a good indication of where you are on the body positivity spectrum, right? And I always say the spectrum because there are people who are like 100% confident with their bodies, regardless of what's going on. There's people who are still making their way across and still trying to figure it out. So ask yourself the questions, you know, how do you feel about your body? Do you like to look at yourself in the mirror, or do you know, talk about yourself negatively, or, you know, shame yourself for how you look, and that makes you feel bad. So asking yourself those questions will help you figure out where you are on that spectrum.
That makes sense. Do you think there could be external influences as to how we perceive our own bodies?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So I look at it as two ways. The information that we're bombarded with constantly, whether it be social media, TV, whatever it might be, those things that you just kind of passively absorb and don't really realize, but you are actually internalizing it. And then there's some things that are more active, where, you know, comments that you might receive from family members or friends, or, you know, even how you see your mom or your aunt or your cousins talking or your sister talking about their bodies. That makes you kind of pause and say, hey, how do I feel about my butt? How do I feel about my belly? So yeah, external influences are probably really, they are significant influences. We learn how to love ourselves, we learn how to treat ourselves, and all of this is stuff we pick up on our way through our experiences and through what we expose ourselves to. So I think if you ask a child, children don't necessarily think any type of way about their bodies. It's when they start to see other people commenting about the things they don't like about their bodies, or someone points something out to them that they didn't notice before. That's when you start to develop that body image, and whether it's positively or negatively going to impact you, that's when that happens.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, that's a type of trauma, right? I know for myself, I come from a family where my mom's like size 4, my aunt's a size 4, and I'm like not a size 4. So you know, like you look at yourself and you're like, well, so how did this happen? Like, how am I here? And I remember just being like, you know, even a size 6 or size 8, and just feeling so like not part of the family and feeling weird about myself and looking at myself strangely.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, I look back at those old pictures like, damn, I wish I had that body again. So
Is that how it is?
it's
Yeah.
really how it is. So
Yeah.
at the end of the day, yeah, I'm really trying to meet myself where I'm at any time. And that's something that I would definitely to viewers as well. Like, you just have to accept yourself and find beauty in everything.
Yeah, and you know, I've had the same kind of experience too. I have two sisters. I'm the middle child. So, and they're both, my younger sister couldn't put on weight if she tried, right? And my older sister has generally been, you know, in a different position. So I was always the quote unquote fat one. So I had to kind of deal with that, and I kind of had to work through that. But it's those experiences that that you kind of go through that bring you to where you are. And it's just, one part of it is recognizing, you know, those traumas or those experiences and reconciling them, but also kind of changing the narrative for yourself and looking at it more positively.
For sure, for sure. So I want to launch a poll for everybody watching. Let us know, how would you rate your personal body image? Okay, we're seeing some could be betters. Not good. Okay. So it looks like, you know, we have some work to do as a community. And that's definitely normal, especially during these times when we see that social media all the time, we see TV all the time. You know, we're watching, you know, Zendaya looks a different way. this person looks a different way. It's definitely normal.
How are ways to develop positive body image? So, well, like we talked about earlier, there are a lot of external influences that we are consuming every day. So changing the things that you're exposing yourself to is a huge part of changing or developing a new positive body image. So being mindful of what you're consuming. Who are you following on Instagram? Who are you flipping through the magazines for? Who do you gravitate towards? If you constantly surround yourself with people who are at a different level or don't have similar experiences as you, and you're constantly comparing yourself, you're doing yourself a disservice. So surround yourself with people and influences that are going to be positive for you, kind of like the Villij here. This is a very great space to kind of cultivate that community and share lived experiences and be able to talk about these things. So that's a huge step in terms of developing positive body image.
Nabat, thanks for holding it down. It was just one of those days.
It's all good.
The internet did not want to be kind. I was like, oh, okay, so it shut down. That's nice. Okay. So can you let me know, did you talk a little bit about ways to develop your positive body image while I was gone?
Yeah,
okay, perfect. Can you share with us your philosophy on non-scale victories?
Yeah, I love talking about non-scale victories because we're in a world where we measure everything. We talk about waist size, we talk about dress size, we talk about the number on the scale. These are all scale victories. These are all things that you can quantify and measure. But what I love to do is focus on the non-scale victories. And these are the things, these positive impacts that you experience, or these positive results that you experience in your life from a fitness journey or from positive healthy changes that you normally can't count or you can't put a number on. So that's like walking better, having better posture, sleeping better, having more energy, being able to play with your kids, putting on clothes and feeling comfortable, like that feeling of comfort. Forget the size of whatever the size is, but feeling comfortable in your own skin. Those are non-scale victories. Not stressing out about what you're eating or how much you're working out or, obsessing about things like that. Those are all non-scale victories. And then non-scale victories look different for everybody, depending on, what your purpose is for starting a fitness journey. But anytime you're going and you're making a change in your life, you want to look at things that you can measure, but also the things that you can't measure, but more or less that you feel and you experience, so that's what I mean about non-scale victories. And I love celebrating that with clients.
I feel that. So interesting story. I went to this lovely place in Utah where I got to work out like all day. We hiked, we swam, we did yoga classes, fitness classes, and I really got to understand my body and what it needs. And it was also very interesting because I didn't really go on a scale. It was like I measured myself before, and then I measured myself like a month after I left, and I was like, oh, sis got a little bit of abs, sis is getting, you know what I mean? So for me, I learned to step away from the scale very early because it's just not good for your mental health at the end of the day. My fiance bought like a body fat scale, and I was like, I ain't stepping on that anytime soon. So keep that away from me.
Sometimes just stepping on that scale is the difference between a good day and a bad day. So let's not go
there. Trust me. You thought you were feeling yourself until you realized like no pounds have come off, but did you build muscle? Yep.
100%. That's it. Your body's changing, but the number won't change. Sometimes the number goes up and that can hit you really hard. So if you don't understand what that number actually means, it can really make you feel like all of your work is for naught. And you don't want to feel like that especially when you're working hard and you're putting all the effort in. It'll bring you down. It's the smallest thing. It's just a number, but it has such a major effect on your mentality, your psyche, your emotions, everything.
Yeah. And just what about like when you go to a store, and especially when you're trying to lose weight, you go to a store, you're trying a size 8 and you're a size 8 here, but you're not a size 8 there. And then it's like, whoa, did I gain weight or is something wrong with their sizing? Like, all of those things. I'm letting y'all into my mind right now.
It's just spiral. Yeah, I get it. I got it.
Yeah. So as a fitness coach, how would you teach beginners how to enjoy fitness?
The first thing you do is do what you love. Honestly, a fitness journey doesn't have to be something you hate. It's not punishment. You're not supposed to be miserable. Sure, there's going to be moments where it's going to suck. That's okay. But overall, you have to enjoy the process. If you don't enjoy the process, you're not going to stick with it. So pick something you enjoy. Not everybody has to weight train or strength train. Not everybody has to be super into yoga or CrossFit or spinning or whatever you want to call it. You don't have to be into everything, but find that one thing that sparks joy, that you get excited about doing. For me, that's strength training, right? I love that. But that's just me. Find what you love. You know, some people like running, some people like doing cardio, some people like to go hiking, some people like to do dance classes. Whatever the activity is, whatever the movement is, make sure you are excited about it and you're enjoying it. And you know, and that again, that a journey is not, we call it a journey because it doesn't really end. It's ongoing. So sometimes you change pace. Like sometimes I'm not feeling doing, strength training, so I'll go back into running, or I'll go into yoga, or I'll do something different. And just keeping it exciting and keeping it something that you're looking forward to, because you don't want to dread it. There's a lot of components to staying consistent with a fitness journey, and if you love it, that's a huge leg up, because your mind is going to be telling you, do you really want to do this? Don't you want to sleep that extra hour? Is it really worth it? Are you actually seeing the results? You're going to try to talk yourself out of whatever it is. So if you at least enjoy it, you can say, you know what, I'm just going to go and have some fun, because I know I like it. It's fun. I'm going to go do it. So I would say you're going to enjoy.
I feel that. I remember when I first started being serious about fitness, I was great. You know, I was running stairs with weight. I had like a body bar. I was doing like all these crazy things, but I was like, this isn't sustainable. I have bad knees. I'm not going to be doing these squats all the time. I'm not going to be running stairs. So for me, it's spin, it's yoga, it's anything that's not high impact on my knees. It's going for bike rides. It's going for nice walks. And I think if you just find what makes you feel good and switch it up from time to time, because everything can get boring, even if you do enjoy it. I definitely agree with that. So what are some common misconceptions people have about working out?
Oh, I love this because I love busting them. I like to just crush them and talk about it. So one thing is, I think anyone who starts a fitness routine or regimen, they think the change is going to happen overnight. And the thing is, this is a long game, and you've said the word sustainability. That's a huge part of fitness and being able to be consistent and see results. And you have to be able to sustain what you're doing, and you have to be patient. Most times you're not going to see results until 6 weeks in. And we're in a world where we get everything instantly. You know, you order something from Amazon, it's at your door in a couple of hours, right? We don't have patience. We don't have, we want things to happen really quickly, but you have to give it time. And I think we give up too quickly. We're like, oh, I've been doing this for 4 weeks. I see no results. I'm going to stop. I'm going to do something else. So you got to be patient, and you have to give it time for your body to adjust and change. Remember, anytime you're starting something new, your body needs time to adapt. So 4 to 6 weeks, go beyond that, and you'll start to see the results. Another thing that is a common misconception is thinking that you have to do everything all at once. Or you don't have to start a diet on day one. You don't have to start your workouts on day one. You don't have to get all the supplements and all the new things. You really can start with something simple and make small steps every day will add up to change. We feel like everything has to start fresh. January 1st, Monday, new diet, new routine, new all the things, but that's a tall order. You're asking a lot of yourself, and you might be able to do it for 2 weeks, and then you're just like, oh crap, that I'm tired. I'm tired of meal prepping. I'm tired of all the supplementation. I'm overwhelmed. You don't want to do that. You want to start with something small. If you can stay consistent with something for long enough, that's going to be the thing that's going to give you the progress. So don't bite off more than you can chew. It's okay if you're still having, your takeout or whatever it is while you're doing your workout. Start with something. Stick with it. Once you've got that, then add on to it. And so it's a process. It's a process, and you got to be patient with it. And then one last thing about a common misconception is your goals. Your goals don't have to be the same as everybody else. Someone's goal might be weight loss. Someone's goal might be weight gain. Another person's goal might be just being able to function through life without pain. Somebody else their goal can be just moving more because they feel better that way. So don't feel like your goal has to be, I want to be a size 4 and 6-pack abs and chiseled and blah, blah, blah. That doesn't have to be it. Your goal can be something as simple as just moving more, and stay in your lane. Don't worry about what everyone else is doing. This is your journey. This is your process. You define why you're doing this and stick with that, because as soon as you tell someone, oh, I'm starting a new fitness journey, they'll be like, oh, what are you doing? Are you doing this? Are you doing that? Blah, blah, blah. And then you start to really feel like, oh, maybe I'm not doing the right thing. And they start to influence your decision. So just know why you're doing it, and don't feel like you have to have the same goals as your friend who's doing the same program, or your family. So just decide what it is that you want to get out of this, and it doesn't have to be what everybody else expects you to get out of it.
It takes that pressure off. Sometimes when you tell people like, oh, I have a spin bike at home, people are like, probably like wondering, okay, like is she using it? You know what I mean? And I don't want to do things because I'm wondering what other people are saying or thinking, right? I want to do it for me. And I think that's one of the biggest things we should take away from this. What are some things to consider when trying to start a new fitness challenge or plan?
Assess what you can handle. That's the very first thing. What makes sense to you? Maybe getting a whole new gym membership isn't something that's accessible to you. That's okay. There are things that you can do that are more financially accessible. Look at your time demands. Like, we all live very busy lifestyles, whether you have a career, you have businesses, you have family, you have kids, whatever it might be. These are all things that are going to demand time from you. So how much time can you dedicate to your fitness journey? It doesn't, like, you don't have to spend all day every day and be fully consumed by this whole process. Decide what is it that you can handle. I say bare minimum. There's a few things you can do. You can drink more water, you could eat more greens, and you can move more every day. And I say move more because movement is different for everyone. Maybe walking is going to be enough of a challenge for you. Maybe it's more, work group fitness classes, or like doing online classes, or whatever it might be. Whatever it is, decide what is attainable for you. A good number is working out, like getting your heart rate up enough 3 to 4 times a week is more than enough. You don't have to do it every single day. But what you could do every single day is go for a walk for 30 minutes. That's something that you can do. So don't think about all the things that you could do. Think about the things that you can do right now. And once you've got it, you'll be able to, you'll build that momentum, and then you'll have the time and the energy and the capacity to do other things and to add on to it in a way that you feel like your life is balanced. Because sometimes we feel like we sacrifice a lot of our time to put into other things, and then we start to develop guilt over different things, and it gets kind of complicated. So decide what it is that you can handle at this point in time, especially where we are right now. Our world isn't the same, right? We're all struggling differently. Mental health is really important, and adding a fitness journey. Fitness is a stressor on your body in a good kind of way, but it's still a stress on your body. So see where you are, see what your body's asking of you, and really ground yourself in that, because I learned a lot this year that fitness is going to look different depending on where you are in life.
Listen, I had, in the beginning of last year, I had a knee surgery, and it took me out, and I couldn't walk by myself until May. January to May, I had a walker. I was an old lady. When I was finished with that, my muscle tone was gone. I
Yeah.
couldn't move the same. I couldn't go downstairs properly. I was really just bound to sitting on the couch.
Yeah.
And I remember when I finally was able to walk. So I live um, like a 30-minute walk from this area called Young and Eglinton. Last summer was the first time I was able to walk there in so long. And I felt like that was such a huge accomplishment for me because I was like, oh my gosh, I made it. My knee doesn't hurt. I'm not panting. I'm not sweating. This is good. Like, and those are little milestones. You got to celebrate those little wins, to be honest. So that's really awesome.
That's a non-scale victory.
So that's it. That's it. I didn't know the name for it. I didn't have the language for it. So thank you for that. So I want to ask everybody in the chat, what keeps you motivated on your fitness journey? What keeps you motivated, Nabat?
On my fitness journey, honestly, fitness for me is a stress release. It's something I do for my mental health. It's something that it's the one time that I can really carve out for me. It's when I can be selfish. That's often why I train by myself. So for me, it's that time away from me where I'm building on myself and I'm improving myself. And that's what keeps me consistent. But also, I'm a coach now, so I kind of have to live the lifestyle, which, is a challenge in and of itself, but
Sure.
I embrace it and I love it. And it's become a part of my life because I've seen a lot of the benefits to different aspects of my life, not even just my physical fitness, but like my work ethic, my relationships, you name it, my fitness has had a positive impact on it. So that's why I stay with it. It keeps me sane.
I love that. A lot of the same for me. I'm a little bit of an anxious person. I deal with a little bit of like depression and anxiety. So when I work out more, it's like a pill.
Yeah.
Everything has gone. I'm chill. I'm happy. I'm more easygoing. I'm uptight. With my day job and my day to day. So it definitely helps. So somebody in the chat said, friends and peers, I need somebody to hold me accountable because I'll rather sit down and watch TV. I'll remember that because this is my friend. So I will force you to come on it with me. So that's amazing. And that's the thing, right? I found if I could just walk in the gym door with somebody back in the day, when the gyms were open, then I would literally just be like, okay, you do your thing, I do mine. I just needed somebody to get me here. And it's so interesting to see that others are the same way. So Caitlin said that she's the same way. I was having a conversation with a friend the other day and she's like, I don't have that outlet anymore. I can't go lift. It's not the same working out from home.
It's not.
So I'm struggling. And I completely get it. At the end of the day, when you have this routine that works for you, and things change and you're trying to pivot with it and the pivoting is just not working, it can get things will be back to normal soon, I hope.
Yeah, I'm very hopeful.
Could you explain, for sure. Could you explain the concept of mind over matter?
Yeah, so I know when we think about fitness or exercise or working out, we think about our bodies, right? We think about, oh, I'm going to go and work my body. But soon very quickly you'll realize it's really not about your body, it's about your mind. Because whenever you're at like your 10th rep or your 15th rep of something, you just want to quit, it's your mind that's telling you quit. It's not your body. Your body doesn't want to. Your body can handle a lot more than you can, it can handle a lot more than you can put it through. But because you're telling yourself, I can't, your body's like, no, I can't, I'm not going to do this. So whenever you're working out, there's something we call mind-body connection. But if your mind is right, your workouts are going to be good. Your exercise, your movement is going to be good, and you're going to be able to push yourself more. But also like fitness is a mental game because every part of it is processed through your mind. the will to get up and work out is a conversation you have in your head for God knows how long, right? Like you're talking yourself in and out of workouts. You're deciding whether or not you want to take it easy today or go hard, or so mindset and training that mindset is a huge part of fitness. It's a huge part of being successful in your fitness journey. And it's something that you can't ignore. And some people can be robotic and shut it all off and just kind of go do the thing. But you're doing yourself a huge disservice, because we've known this, being in the fitness industry. We've known how much of a positive impact physical activity is for your mental health. But now people are realizing a lot more, because now we've taken that option away for all intents and purposes. But so that mindset and that mental aspect of training is super important. And what you tell yourself in your mind is going to show up in the gym or at home when you're working out. So if you have a positive outlook on your workout, if you're telling yourself, I can do this, I am going to do this, you will do it. Our minds are our limitations. Oftentimes we talk ourselves out of things, and that's why you have a friend or a coach or a trainer or whoever it might be who's encouraging you, who's telling you, yes you can, because I know you can. But we have to work on that ourselves.
So it's interesting, because my motivation is always music, always. Yeah. Always. So if I go on an app and I know it comes with a bomb playlist, I'm like, no, I have to do that one. I don't care if it's 45 minutes spin. I don't care if it's 20 minutes. I need that playlist. So it's really just about finding your motivation. And I really love what you said as well, Nabat. So please share some tips on some ways that we can remain motivated.
Okay, so I have a love-hate relationship with the word motivation. I know we use it a lot, but one thing that you have to understand is motivation is not going to last. Motivation is fleeting. It's there when you're excited about something. It's there when you're hype about it, and then it slowly kind of disappears. So I like to use the word commitment or discipline. Those are words that are more that better articulate what we're trying to talk about here. Motivation comes and goes, but the discipline is what's going to keep you going. So how do you stay quote unquote motivated or disciplined? Set yourself up for success, right? If you're not a morning person, don't plan your workout in the morning. Like, you know what I mean? If you struggle to wake up for work in the morning, don't say you're going to wake up an hour earlier for that workout. It's not going to happen. So be real with yourself and decide, okay, you know what? After work is actually a better time. I can actually figure out, like, that's more doable for me. Setting up yourself in terms of your schedule, in terms of like when you want to work out, or what changes you want to make, whether it be nutrition based or whatever it is. Decide things that you can stay consistent with, or that you can be disciplined about. Don't set yourself up for failure. So going back to the whole starting everything on a Monday, getting all the stuff going on a Monday, that's too much to take on. Decide what is reasonable for you and stick with it. The discipline it comes into play when you really don't want to do something, when you really want to, just eat that dessert that you probably shouldn't have, or those workouts that you want to miss, but you're like, oh, I don't have the motivation. The discipline is what gets you there. Just put on your shoes, get out the door, or go into your living room to get your workout in. Whatever it is, just start. That's the make or break for a fitness journey. It's not the motivation, it's the discipline. And as a trainer and a coach, I see people more for the accountability and the discipline than anything. I'm not sitting there rah the whole time. It's me showing up. I'm meeting you at the gym at 3 p.m. Are you going to be there? And they will be there because they made an appointment, they made an investment, and they're going to show up. It's not for the cheering on that I'm going to give them. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't, but it's because they know they have to show up. They have to be disciplined. They have to honor that commitment. So the motivation will last the first few weeks, but once the novelty wears out, it's the discipline that's going to keep you going.
So we talked a little bit about mental health and, its correlation with fitness, but can we go a little deeper? What impact from, a fitness coach standpoint would you say that it has on our mental health?
So a couple of things. The main thing I'd say is whenever your body's moving, whenever you're working out, your body releases endorphins. Endorphins are your feel good hormones. They're the things that, we talk about the runner's high or, feeling great when you leave the gym. That's the endorphins flowing. And so that's what we want. We want to pump your body up with things that are going to make you feel good. And movement does that. I like to tell people, listen, there's power in movement. It doesn't even have to be like, you don't have to be full on sweating on the floor about to pass out to have that feeling. Just getting up, going for a walk, or stretching for 10 minutes, or doing a yoga class or whatever it might be. Those are things that are gonna get your endorphins flowing. And we want feel good hormones because we flood our body with stress hormones, and we have natural, sex hormones that are like raging and doing all a bunch of things. So why not help ourselves out and give ourselves a boost of the endorphins? And that happens when you move your body. So that phrase that people say, no one ever regretted a workout, or no one feels bad after a workout. It's true because your body's doing it's processing things and it's releasing these hormones that are really making you feel like you have a high and you feel amazing. So that's from a scientific standpoint. That's the positive impact on your mental health that physical activity does have on it.
In what ways has fitness impacted yourself, and how you show up in the world?
For me, it's all about, it's a lot of things because now fitness has become a career for me. But honestly, it's time that I can give to myself. It's time that I can work on me and getting stronger and feeling better. We talked about positive body image. I don't necessarily care how I look. I care more about how I feel. And I feel better when I'm training consistently. And I show up better because I feel better. So that's really why I keep going. But also the fact that I learned through eating better, working out more consistently, I learned that discipline. I can do the things that suck for a long period of time because I've gotten used to it, once you start to challenge yourself physically, you can take on all sorts of challenges. I've made career changes, I've taken leaps, I've built a lot of confidence. That's one thing that I can't even quantify that, because anyone who knew me 15 years ago would be like, what? You're doing what? You're talking to who? Like, you're out there doing what? Because I was the quietest person. I'm still introverted, but I was really shy. But through like physical activity and fitness and just getting stronger and feeling better and really owning my body and where I'm at, I developed this level of confidence that translates in every aspect of my life. I can't even sit here and tell you all the things, but these are just a couple of things I can think of off the top of my head.
No, to be honest, I feel that since I started consistently working out again this winter, nothing has changed for me, nothing,
Yeah.
but I feel better. I feel happier. I have a bit more energy. I think I'm tired for other reasons, but I have a bit more energy. And yeah, I feel a bit more confident. So that's amazing to hear that, you're mirroring a lot of the same things that I've been experiencing myself.
Yeah.
So how often should, and I will say should, someone work out within a week?
So I'm going to define a workout for you. Workout, I'd say something that's going to elevate your heart rate for at least 20 minutes in the day. And by elevate your heart rate, like you should be like a little bit more heavier breathing. If you have a Fitbit, you're looking at a heart rate range that's going to be between like 120, 130 or whatever. So I would say 3 to 4 times a week. And that might seem like a low number, but it's a number that you can conceivably commit to and stick with. I can tell you, everyone can think of one person who said, I'm going to work out every day, 6 days a week. And they did it for a month and they stopped. We don't want to be those people. We want to be able to stay consistent with something. So I say 3 to 4 times a week. I train personally, if I'm doing well, 3 to 4 times a week. But I like to move every day. And by move, I mean, leisurely walk. You're not really breaking a sweat. Taking 10 minutes to stretch. to step away from your desk because we're all sitting at home, working and stuff. So taking those body breaks are really important. But for workouts, classic workouts, I'd say 3 to 4 times a week.
So, everyone in the chat, can you let me know how you feel right now about your personal fitness routine? I will go first. I felt real good until I got real busy, and now I don't feel so good. so so right now, I look back at my app and I see like, when's the last time I had like a really challenging workout? And I'm like, I've been doing a lot of meditations, been doing a lot of quick stretches, but I think it's really important to do things that you need at that time. If I were to do a 45-minute spin class, I don't think I could hang. I think I'd be more exhausted.
I feel
okay. So somebody says it needs commitment, working on it. Another one says it could be better, but I'm getting into spin classes, online, and yoga. I love that. Caitlin, let's connect. I want to know what spin classes you're doing, in our village. I'll DM you. I counted the steps from my kitchen to my desk the other day, and I was like, oh, just a mere like 20 steps. That's nice. Like, so you're doing much better than Oh gosh. This will all, like I said, this will all end soon. So what role, and I know nutrition plays a big part in your fitness. So can you talk a little bit about that for me?
Yeah, so nutrition is something, when we talk about abs are made in the kitchen, it's true. Like, weight loss has a huge part of weight loss is, what you're putting into your body, what you're consuming. But it doesn't have to be, I think people can take it can be very extreme about it. Calorie counting is one thing. You count your macros, you can do all those things, but if it's not sustainable, then it's not necessarily for you. But you can approach nutrition in a much healthier way, because there's a lot of unhealthy ways you can approach fitness, especially in a fitness journey, right? Like you can be like, I need to eat 1,200 calories a day, no carbs, no fats, or I'm doing keto, or I'm doing this thing. These are all ways of eating, but that's not necessarily sustainable. I'll tell you, like I've seen so many people over the years. I've been coaching for 6-7 years, and it's the same thing all the time. I'd say small changes every day is what's going to help you out. Drink more water. A lot of us are not drinking enough water. And by enough, I mean 2 to 3 liters. Again, it depends on your body size, but 2 to 3 liters, right? So that's about 2 or 3 of these a day. So start with that. And there's so many benefits to water. I'm not going to go into it, but there's so many benefits to that. And then instead of cutting out all of the things that you consider bad, how about you just start to eat more of, healthier things? So when you have a plate, have half your plate be vegetables. I don't care what kind, the greener the better, colorful is amazing, just vegetables. I don't care what's on the other half of your plate, just go with more vegetables. We're a lot of us are not eating enough vegetables. And then just looking at how much protein you're eating, have a little bit of protein. You can have carbs are not bad, but just have a balanced approach. Just make sure your plate is not beige. Try to make sure there's enough color on your plate. And not every meal is going to look the same. But another thing is, and this is one thing that I think is a misconception as well, is that you have to cut out sugar completely. It's not sustainable. I'll tell you, like I've gone long periods of time without sugar, but I always kind of come back to it. So it's about how do you still achieve your fitness goals while still enjoying the things that you love. And I like to talk about the worth it method. Some things are worth eating. Sometimes we eat things just because they're there and it's convenient, but we don't actually want them. So when you're approaching foods, it's like, do you really want to eat this? Do you enjoy it? Is it going to bring you some sort of joy? If it is, then eat it. If it's not, then don't. It's fairly simple. I always talk about things like experiences where, you're visiting an aunt who makes this favorite thing that you love, that you don't get every day. eat that, no guilt, just enjoy, right? Because you're not going to have it every day. You can, like, there are times where you can enjoy things. You don't have to feel like you're on a diet. I never suggest people go on quote unquote diets, because you have to eat the rest of your life. If you
Mm.
don't think you can eat this way the rest of your life, it's not the right thing for you. So deciding what are the foods that don't work well for you or that you have a poor relationship with, and working through that. It's a very organic process. It's different for everybody. Um, a lot of, like, I've worked with clients who have eating disorders or who have unhealthy relationships with food. So we don't talk about calories. We don't talk about measuring your food. We just talk about choices and healthier choices. And how do you do that? And how do you go out with your friends to a burger place and not feel guilty about it?
And I love the fact that you try not to talk about calories with some people. I am the person that doesn't need to talk about calories, because if I do, I obsess, and it's not healthy. Okay, so I'm gonna turn off my camera. There's a lot of issues happening with the retro. There must be a retrograde, because the internet is not in my favor right now. Okay, so lastly, what would you recommend that beginners take supplements?
For beginners, I'd say no, because it's too overwhelming. It's again adding on something that is too much and overwhelming, because we've already decided we're going to start working out more, we're going to start eating healthier. Now we have to take supplements, and we have to think about the supplements and how we take them and how much and blah blah blah. It's a lot. So if you're starting out, I'd say no. But obviously, if we're talking about supplementations for health reasons, like multivitamins and stuff like that, obviously, your primary care physician or your doctor will help you figure that stuff out. But when it comes to sports supplementation, I'd say no, let's not do that at this point. But eventually it does come around. And what I suggest, I'm more moderate and modest about supplementation, but if I do supplement, I'll supplement two things. One are electrolytes, especially if you're training a lot and you're sweating a lot, you want to be able to replenish. So electrolytes or something. You can even do like natural electrolytes. It doesn't have to be like a powder. There's ways you can do it where it's just water, lemon, and a little bit of salt. That's the way to rehydrate yourself. And then protein. Protein is a supplement that is relatively safe to consume. And it's something that particularly women, we eat less protein. So supplementing with really clean protein sources or protein powder is a great way to do that. Apart from that, everything else is just extra in my opinion. And as long as you're eating a variety of colors in your foods, you're going to get a lot of the micronutrients and the macronutrients that you're going to need. But electrolytes is one thing, especially if you're training, that I would suggest. And then protein powders, by way of just giving yourself a bit of a boost. If you're not getting enough protein, I would suggest that. I know pre-workouts come out a lot. I would say go the natural route first. Caffeine is a great natural pre-workout. If that doesn't do it for you, then yes, we can start to explore different things. But again, this is something that I would talk about with someone who is further down the road and who's lacking in energy to work out, or who needs a bit more of an external boost. But to start out, I'd say don't worry about it. Just try to eat a lot of colors, and just stay consistent with things, and eventually it'll work itself out.
Yeah, so I just wanted to touch on one question. When you were talking about proteins, I think about protein powders, and I'm seeing like the protein powders derived from more vegetables, more vegan, the ones that are derived from, more animal products. What do you suggest on that? And does it matter?
I think it's personal preference, to be honest, but I find that the majority of people that I work with or that I encounter have an intolerance to dairy. So whey protein is dairy based. So it often doesn't sit well, like our body doesn't digest it very well. I personally had that same experience with whey protein. So I like to use vegan sources of protein. There's tons of brands out there. There are some that are more green, but just looking at the label, nutrition label, and looking at how much gram how many grams of protein are for one serving. Something 20 and above in terms of grams of protein per serving is what is ideal. Again, natural plant-based plant sources of protein are going to be a lot easier for your body to digest, but everyone's different. So you kind of have to do a little bit of self-experimentation. Some people, regular off-the-shelf whey protein is awesome, but for a lot it isn't. So you have to kind of try different things until you find something that works best for you. But natural plant-based sources of, or like vegan protein powders, are often a lot more easily digested and people have more success with in terms of processing.
Okay, thank you so much for that.
No
So I
problem.
want to leave it open for the Q&A portion. Does anybody have questions for Nabat? I would love to, hear about them. There's sometimes people will ask questions and I'm like, oh yes, I thought about that.
There was
I forgot to ask them.
There was a question that was asked earlier when you kind of dropped off, and the person asked, what are some exercises you can do or affirmations to create positivity? So in terms of exercises, I'd say do what makes you feel good. Sometimes people like to do heavy squats because they feel awesome. People like to avoid doing bicycle crunches because they can feel too much of their body, and it gives them the awareness that they're not necessarily happy with. So movement that makes you feel good, that makes you kind of forget about all the negative things we think about our bodies, is really helpful. Affirmations, I'd say, maybe it's not an affirmation, but I'll leave you with a thought. It's like, you're given one body. This is the one body you've been blessed with. It's the vessel for your soul. It's a vessel for who you are. Embracing it is really important. You can make the best of it or you can make the worst of it. Either which way, your body's not going to change. It's not going to change in a drastic way. So telling yourself, you love your body, you love what it does for you. I love to take moments of gratitude. Being able to get up every day is a blessing. Being able to see and move and walk and breathe and, work out, whatever it is, these are all blessings, and these are all opportunities for you to notice and show gratitude for these blessings in your life. So thinking about it that way, thinking about it as, I can do this, not necessarily that I have to do it, is a great way to reframe your approach to exercise. Not everybody gets to do what you have the opportunity to do. So thinking of it that way is a huge way to frame it so more positively.
I love that. So one person asked, what are your thoughts on food journaling or food calorie tracking in certain apps?
So I think they're helpful. I'm not going to throw it out the window completely. I think writing down the foods that you're eating or tracking down your food intake and your calories helps bring you awareness in terms of what you're eating. We eat a lot more than we think we're eating. Just for talking about calories for a brief moment, ideally, depending on your body weight, if you have your weight loss goal, you want to be eating anywhere between 1,800 to 2,000 calories, maybe less, maybe more, whatever it is. But sometimes we don't even notice and we end up eating 3,000, 4,000 calories a day. That's way more than our body actually needs to function. So using a calorie tracker for a period of time to understand the foods that you're eating and to learn how to make better choices and to learn portion control, that can work for a lot of people. I get a lot of my clients to do food journals or food logs. I want you to write down everything that you're eating. I want you to talk about how you feel when you ate that. Did you feel full? Were you still hungry? Did you feel guilty? Did you have a headache? Write down the things that you're experiencing when you're eating, because that's more information for you to assess if this is something that's good for you or it's not good for you. So all these tools are helpful, but you don't have to. If it starts to become obsessive, that's when it gets dangerous. But if you want to track your calories for a month just to have a better understanding of, oh, I've actually been eating a lot more, let me try to start to make some more changes and see if it's working, you can do that. Sustainable, maybe not, but you decide what works for you, and just have a certain level of awareness. If you start to think, oh my God, I can't eat until I can punch it into my phone, take a step back, take a breath, and say, listen, it's okay. It's not a big deal. We need to reevaluate this. So they're helpful tools, and they can be a real resource. Just be aware of it. Be mindful of, the pitfalls of it.
That's great. And I think sometimes it's good to see, just because I remember when like I said, when I went to that fitness place, I didn't realize that like only 12 almonds were like 100 calories. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
I'm here sitting eating 30 almonds thinking it's like, I don't know, 50 calories. So in a sense, it's good to kind of understand your intake. But yeah, I love the advice that you gave. Another question was, what are some qualities we should be looking for when seeking a fitness coach? What questions should we be asking them? That's a great question.
I love this. And as a coach who doesn't work with everybody who reaches out to her, I'll tell you what I would look for. First of all, you have to, and I think this is a great place to talk about it, you have to connect with the person you want to train with. A trainer-client relationship is very intimate, if I can put it. There's a lot of things that happen in a training session. You talk about your vulnerabilities. You talk about the things that you don't like about yourself. These are all things that come up, and this person is helping you make a change mentally and physically. So you want to be able to trust that person. You want to be able to connect with them, and feel like they understand you. So someone with similar lived experience is a huge one. A lot of my clients, not all of them, but a majority of them might look more like me, people of color, Muslim women, because they feel more comfortable working with me. So make sure you have that connection, or you kind of suss them out. Same way as you would look for a therapist, or you'd look for, like a life coach or something like that. Same concept. You want to be able to connect with that person. Then you want to talk about what they expect from you as a client, right? If they're expecting you to track your calories, they're expecting you to do, train 15 hours a week or whatever it is, and put all this effort in, and that's not something you want, or that's not something you can handle, that might not be a trainer for you. Ask about training modalities. What's their training philosophy? Do they understand your goals, or do they have their own goals for you? Sometimes as trainers and coaches, we can see your potential and we want to get you to another point, but you might not be ready for that. And your trainer or your coach should not be imposing their goals for you onto you. They have to connect with your goals and help you reach that, even if it's not what they think is, even if they think you can go far beyond that. You really have to, the trainer has to meet the client where they're at, and really kind of embrace them. Another thing is, how much experience they have with someone at your fitness level, right? So I wouldn't train a high performing athlete. Like that's not my forte, right? So I know where my boundaries are. I love teaching women the basics. I love coaching women on learning the foundations. That's another piece. If your coach or your trainer is going to have you doing weighted burpees on day one, that might be a little bit too much. You might not be ready for that. So ask them what training modalities they like to use, and if that makes sense for you, or if that's what you like, then you go with that. But also know that, like, I see trainers, like the person is a 65-year-old woman and they have her doing something that she's not in the right position to do, or she's not really there for it. Sure, she can do it, but she probably will injure herself fairly surely. So thinking about it that way as well. You want a trainer who's thinking about your overall health, not just, how many reps you can bang out.
Nabat, it's been a great conversation. Again, I want to thank you for holding it down, because this internet is not being kind. And let us know where we can find you. So on Instagram, I'm going to drop her link. If you want to tell them your handle.
Yeah, my handle is nsherif, Nsherif. That's just my first initial, my last name. You can reach out to me if you have questions. I'm pretty active in my DMs. And, if you want to follow my journey and what I like to share, feel free to do that. I'm around in the inner village too. You'll see some, I'm around for you guys. If you have questions or you need anything or you need support, this is what I love to do. This is my passion. So I'm happy to be there for you.
Amazing. We can't wait to learn more with you. We can't wait to talk to you in Inner Village. Yes, we encourage everybody to reach out to Nabat. This is what Inner Village is here for. It's a space for us all to really, truly connect. So thank you so much for that, Nabat. Now, I want to let you guys know there's an upcoming Village Talk with a best-selling author, Nina Purewal, called Let That Beep Go. That will be the subject of our talk, just fully letting go all of, the traumas we've been through and starting to go through acceptance and understanding. So look out for that in Inner Village because I'm sure it will ping you all. Of course, there's some great conversations in Inner Village, in our on-demand. I know we have some from our psychiatrist, Dr. Chanel. We have some from Dr. Steph, and we have some great meditations and yoga. So I really hope you guys are taking the time to enjoy it or carving out some time for yourself throughout your week.